Hello and welcome to the Let's Talk Sports Show on Calon 105 FM with your host, Jamie Davies. And alongside me this week is Jack Price, Joe Stanley and Andrew Pollard. For the next hour, we'll be looking back at the Premier League. The first weekend of the 2018-19 Premier League season has begun. And we have certainly had some good results. And then we'll talk about the golf. We'll talk about the European Championships. We'll talk about everything from A to Z of sport. That's what we're here for. That's the title, the Let's Talk Sports Show. So that's all coming up on Calon 105 FM. Well, I hope you enjoyed dancing to that. We were certainly dancing all weekend over goal celebrations. I hope your team at home won your match. I mean, unless you're a Liverpool fan or Man City fan. I don't want to hear it. Oh, wait, there's one right in front of me. That's Joe Stanley wearing, for the second week or third week in a row, he's wearing
12. It's not 5 times. That's all they normally say. Is it 5 times?
Yeah, 5 times. Have a wash, then go for that 5 times again.
Liverpool fans wash? Wow, you're presuming.
Wow. This is what happens when I got no sense of smell. Maybe I'm just assuming things, but Joe Stanley's one happy chap right now because Liverpool are top of the Premier League, hopefully for just 1 week.
Let's end it now. Let's end the season now.
No. They, of course, beat West Ham United by 4-0 at Anfield. And, well, Joe, it was a great start for Liverpool, who could be the bogey team for Man City this season.
Yeah, it's a fantastic start. Obviously, we dominated from start to finish.
Oh, my word.
I don't know
what Joe Stanley. No.
We did, though. We dominated from start to finish.
You just sound like a typical Liverpool.
Yeah, that is the way they all start.
It was the cadence. We dominated from start to finish. Like, all right.
Were you there?
No, I would never go to that cesspit.
Yeah, we played very well, actually. I was quite impressed because normally on the opening day of the season, you'd side a lacking a bit slow, but actually we dominated throughout. We controlled the play, but okay, we were playing West Ham, so you could say it wasn't the toughest of opposition. But yeah, I was impressed with the opening day victory and 4-0 victory, brilliant.
But obviously for Liverpool, it's good to see for them that their main men up front are scoring goals again, because sometimes you can have one-season wonders with the likes of Manu or anybody. So for them, it's quite refreshing to know that they can rely on them again.
Yeah, obviously it's good for Mo Salah to get the opening goal of the season for Liverpool. And obviously people are saying, could he do it again? Could he be more than a one-season wonder? I'm hoping so. I believe so.
Has he got a shoulder that burden? Has he? No? Maybe? Yeah. Tumbleweeds.
That's still a touchy subject.
No, his shoulder's A-OK.
It's A-OK. I checked.
I checked with him personally, and he was fine.
Do you have the licence to do that?
Well,
while giving Mo Salah one of his business cards. Yeah. Laminated for effect.
We've all got one here. Let's Talk Sport. If you want one, Joe will take the post address and we'll write it down.
Mine was already stained, though. I'm not sure what that's about. But anyway, continuing the thought of...
I spilled my tea on it. That's all it was.
What were you doing with that tea? That's what I want to know.
Drinking it.
It's the Next Door Sports Show.
Yeah, so it was good to see him.
Should we start again?
This is what happens when you start with Liverpool.
Sadio Mane, great to see him on the score sheet twice, obviously. Scoring on the opening day for the third season in a row. First player since John Barnes in 1991 was the last time he scored 3 consecutive seasons in a row.
That season they won nothing as well, was
and
it?
then Daniel Sturridge on his first touch.
See, fantastic. I remember Ryan Giggs scoring in every Premier League season from when it started for nearly 20 years. Yeah.
And Gary Speed as well, until Speed's last season he didn't. But yeah, Giggs did it all until he retired.
It's a Welsh thing.
It is,
It is a Welsh thing. Sorry, Joe, go on.
Yeah, it was good to see Sturridge as well. Come on, first touch, put the ball in the net as well.
And for West Ham United, Jack, scary times because they didn't show up at all yesterday, and they've got the players. Jack Wilshere, well, I won't say what his actual name is on air, but we all know what that is. But West Ham United, they could be one of the teams that might go down this year, maybe.
Yeah, but I suppose they've got to give him time. I mean, they brought in a lot of players in the transfer window, and I think David Moyes will be looking, going, why didn't I get any money? You know, Manuel Pellegrini's come in and they spent a lot. You know, 42 million on Philippe Anderson, is it?
Yeah.
So it's going to take a while for them all to bed in. They've got a new goalkeeper, like you said, a new midfield, a couple of new wingers. So, you know, it is going to take time. So I can understand. And obviously, when you're playing Liverpool first game of the season, to how well they played last year, it's always going to be difficult away from home for West Ham. So I don't think you can judge it straight away. But it's not the best start for them. But
Well, I suppose Jack Wilshere shows that he adds balls to that midfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah. Well, he did initially until he got hit with that free kick in his sad sack.
I'll be honest. I didn't watch the game.
Oh no, he got a proper nut shot off a free kick.
Ooh,
It just got drilled straight into his crotch, and then the rebound. Somebody drilled it straight into Mark Noble's crotch. Brilliant.
Milner cracked the free kick into Wilshere, and Salah cracked the rebound into.
they've been drinking too much Ribena. They have.
yeah.
I got a free Ribena voucher the other day.
Did you?
Get 80p off it. It's
Whoa.
in my
That
wallet.
was
I'll
the
show you.
funniest was Sky's commentator crying out laughing when it happened. He was just
It was
literally sat
funny.
behind the microphone, crying his eyes out.
Probably an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
Probably not. Yeah.
I think
Probably
it-
Arsene Wenger.
Funny enough, I think it was Andy Hinchcliffe.
Oh really? Okay.
What a wonder of left foot that man had. Just stunning, like a young Burt Reynolds.
But talking about the next game now, we'll talk about Arsenal, Manchester City, because
Well, we've done you now.
we've
all
done
right?
you now.
Yeah, back in your box.
Yeah, Joe. There's these things like commuting's part and parcel of life. Liverpool's had this part and parcel of my life in a sad way. You know, we all have to go through
It's
it.
a burden.
It's a burden. You know, just like Chelsea or Wrexham for me as well. You know,
Whoa! What Wrexham done to you in this one?
nothing.
Hang on. I think if we all looked away, you'd be the worst as a United fan. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So,
But I'm not you lot.
no, but I am.
Yes,
And I
you
am,
are,
yeah.
you are. I should be careful here. There's three of you.
Yeah.
And we are right next to the racecourse crowd after Wrexham had a nice thumping 3-0 win.
They did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Big Mike Fondup with who. Speaking of dancing queens, he was dancing, doing his little floss. That's his goal celebration.
I can't do the floss. It's so hard.
Yeah,
And can I just say, before we move on to the Man City game, we can also have to apologise for Adam Davis's terrible weekend that he had.
Oh, brilliant!
8-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, Chester.
You know what?
Did they turn up? I mean,
I thought the 0-0 with spending more time was like their low point, but no, they went one better. Well, they went 8-1 better. Yeah.
I remember some of the jokes on Twitter. You know, I'd 8 being a, never mind.
Wow.
I ain't being a Chester fan.
Yeah. But I must admit, I actually had 2 options this weekend for Saturday. Not in terms of women. I'm on about, matches.
What?
York City or Blythe.
Uh-huh.
Okay, to cover the game. Blythe's too far out. I wish I went to that now, because when I was leaving York's ground, it was the tannoid came on. The man was announcing the scores from the National League. I couldn't believe it. 8-1.
8-1 indeed.
Some of me wanted me to have actually been there and seen it, but
I'd love to have been there to see that as a Wrexham fan.
Andy would have been on the pitch and.
Yeah. I've actually been to one Chester away game apart from watching it at Wrexham, and that was the only way I could get a lift back from Manchester one New Year's Day. A little bit worse way was to go with my mate who supports Chester to watch Lee RMI, I think it was, away. Yeah, that was awful. Chester won. I was hungover.
I was going to say
that was years ago when they were in the conference before they went bust the first time. Yeah.
And they were Chester City.
Yeah. But they've got this whole new name and identity, but they've still managed to cling on to their history. It's a load of toss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
But 7 words you can't say on the radio.
Yes,
folks.
I find this out a lot.
But Arsenal and Manchester City, let's talk about them, because Manchester City, they've got that pressure on them, Jack, to defend the title. And the last time someone did that was Man United in 2009. So that's a long time, isn't it? That's 10 years. But they looked very calm and collective at the Emirates, and they got the job done, sadly.
Yeah, it wasn't their best performance by a long shot, and Arsenal weren't great either. But again, they're going to take some time with a new manager, and a lot of people have been saying that he's going to need a few transfer windows to get rid of some of the dead weight. I mean, how Granit Xhaka's still there, I'm not quite sure. He's awful. Man City, they were okay. I still think Bernardo Silva is seriously underrated in that City team. If you look at that second goal, he just controls it, beautifully, and it's just a great finish. So I think Pep Guardiola would have been a bit disappointed. There was a chance for Sergio Aguero, and he should have passed it across to De Bruyne. He selfishly went for the shot, and it was only 1-0 at the time, and Arsenal were putting on a lot of pressure, which I think his teammates weren't happy with, and obviously Guardiola wasn't happy with. So it was lucky that 5 minutes later Silva scored, because Arsenal maybe could have got another goal out of it, made it 1-1. But in the end, City sort of controlled the game, and it was sort of a fair result because, until Lacazette came on for Arsenal, they didn't really have much spark.
And funny enough, when you talk about Xhaka, how on earth is he still at Arsenal? I honestly do not know why. I mean, he's just dreadful. He just reminds me of Vidic, but Vidic was good. He always gets red cards, but he has nothing to show for it.
He is the easiest man to put a bet on for yellow cards.
And Bernardo,
he just is. It's like an Arsenal game. It's like Granit Xhaka.
I mean, if I was betting, I'd put red card to him before the game.
It's just I honestly don't know how, because how he's a professional footballer, really. I mean, what does he do? I'm sorry, but
see, I don't mind Granit Xhaka. I don't think he's too bad. I think in the Arsenal team, he's a little bit. He's not the holding midfielder that a lot of people see him as. He's more efficient going forward, and so when he's played deep, it exposes he can't really tackle, and he's got a really awful temperament. He's all right. He's all right. I'd take him over Jack Wilshere if at the end of last season one of those two had to leave Arsenal. I'd be letting old Weetabix knees go. Yeah,
he's rather slow. He's like a bus turning in the middle of the park.
I forgot Jordan Henderson was rapid.
Liverpool had the same problem with Emre Can last year. The last couple of years, he just.
Oh, you liked Emre Can?
Yeah, he's one of the few cop-outs that I actually rate. I thought he's really good, Emre Can. Obviously, he's a lot better now.
If Emre Can, he can. But go on.
The silence is all, Jay.
I've got another one in a minute.
Basically, Emre Can was all right. On his day, he could be a world beater. But then, obviously, when was it his day? Hardly ever.
Inconsistent.
Hardly ever.
Yeah.
How have we gone back to Liverpool?
Yeah,
Jay, we've had enough of that.
Anyway, Arsenal.
Make a point. Xhaka, very slow, laboured, like a boss turning midfield. Yaya Toure-esque. Toure had the talent.
What?
Wow.
Okay.
So he's just like Yaya Toure. Apart from Yaya Toure, was good. It's like no.
Well, I mean, it just shows that yesterday's match, you don't have to have gold to win a game, because Bernardo Silva shows that second place isn't bad. That was terrible. I will leave right now of this building and never do radio broadcasting again.
That was really awful.
It was really bad.
Yeah,
I was thinking of something Silva-wise, but there is something we know about Man City. Silva works. David Silva.
Yeah,
Bernardo
but then too
Silva,
often they just look at currency and rely on sterling.
Oh.
Yeah. If you want to go to the bad puns, I could be here all day. We should move on.
You're good at it.
No, I don't want to say Raheem Sterling's name, really. But, had to for pun's sake.
Actually, here's a good question. Isn't it funny how Raheem Sterling didn't do anything at the World Cup for England? And let's be honest, he's never really made it as an England player yet. But his first game back at Man City, he scores, plays very well. Is he another player, Andrew, that he'll go down as a great club player, but just not for England?
In that sense, though, who would go down as a great player for England in the last 20 years? If you're going to base it on that, in terms of what they've achieved internationally, because they've achieved jack all. Qualifying for tournament to get to quarterfinals isn't winning trophies. No, but was he a great England player by that rationale in terms of what he's won? I can see what you mean. As in Sterling clearly isn't more of a dominant force. It's like we're turning to Liverpool fans here. No, he's a dominant force. He's from start to finish for Man City all throughout last season, and obviously had a great start to the season yesterday. I don't know, because it's a weird one. You can look at it and say clearly Pep Guardiola has a lot of faith in him, but I think so too does Gareth Southgate. So I don't know if he's maybe a little more restricted in England's system, or I'm not sure what it is, or if it's just a mental thing because of the fan base at Man City. The fans love him, they embraced him. Whereas with England, I mean, I can't speak from an England fan point of view, but I think a lot of England fans aren't really that keen on him, and they're looking for any excuse to make him a scapegoat.
There's always one player in the England team, though, that they use as a scapegoat. Yeah. But I quite like the sort of camaraderie that the City players had last year. So hopefully they bring it on this year, and they all look like great company.
Oh, that one was good. That one was good.
Wow.
But did you do it with
Let's start. Come on, Joe. You've got. Come on, there must be one.
Just don't come to me. That's when I ruin that's when the train stops. I'm afraid. Just like an Arriva train, it just always gets cancelled.
I think for that pun, we just clearly have to say bravo.
Bravo. This is the king of puns on Let's Talk Sport. But we are going to... Well, actually, before we have our first music break, I'll just mention that it was a goalless draw between Southampton and Burnley, and we don't really want to talk about that game. I didn't see the highlights.
How was it a 0-0 draw? Wasn't Joe Hart playing?
Yeah, he was in my fantasy football team, getting me a nice 7 points.
You got him in your team?
I did, yeah. I thought Burnley Burnley could have literally anybody in goal and they'd be okay.
I've got to check the lineup here now.
Yeah, he did. He started.
No. I mean, like, I want to check the subs bench. Okay, let's have a look.
Was Lindegaard?
I think Lindegaard was the only option other than Joey.
To be honest, though, I do think there was a few heart in mouth moments for the Burnley fans.
Heaton was a sub. Heaton was a sub. But
what did you say?
I said there could have been a few heart and mouth moments for the Burnley fans.
That one's good. I like that one. Nick Pope.
Look at Joe try to get involved. Me too. Yeah. Ben, come on. What am I working with here?
Yeah, but his squad
you
numbers
love Ben,
so
don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I always amaze me when for years you've seen someone like Arsenal crying out for centre halves, looking for centre halves. Why not go with something like Ben Mee? Give him a shot. Obviously now he's starting to get a little bit on a bit. I think he's 29. I think he's 29 now. 29. But you're thinking he's been a consistent force of nature for the last 3 or 4 seasons as part of.
He has been a very key player for.
So you're thinking, why doesn't somebody take a punt on him because he's not a glamorous big name signing? Just he's clearly effective in what he does.
I was going to use another pun then, but I realised he plays for Watford now. But I was going to say, doesn't he look a bit old and grey?
Oh,
but he plays for Watford now.
Oh, you guys are so good at this. This is I'd pay to see this.
I think we need to put a cork in that.
God damn it!
This is turning. Just all the listeners are just turning off their videos.
Yeah. We do apologise. There'll be more of it next week as well on the Let's Talk Sports show. But yes, we better have a music break because I think we need to have a quick meeting in the next 3 minutes and 10 seconds because you
more
two.
puns.
Yeah, because you too will be here with Vertigo. We'll be right back on the Let's Talk Sports show. You too with Vertigo there, and I believe they're in the Manchester Arena in October, which I'm hoping to get a ticket to. Good old U2, they keep on going, great songs there. One of my favourites is actually Beautiful Day. I don't know why, it reminds me of football.
It reminds me of football, yeah.
Yeah.
Just shame that Bono was an absolute turd. that's the only thing.
Heard it.
Especially if you watch South Park, it was officially he was the biggest turd in the whole world.
Oh,
According to
really?
South Park logic.
Not Mr. Hanky, the Christmas.
No, they were in the competition to, I think it was Stan's dad, see who could do the this is why we've gone massively off topic here.
I don't know.
He was trying to get in the Guinness World Records for the biggest turd, and then he turns out after all his effort and straining, he lost out because Bono was officially the biggest turd in the world. Anyway, back to football and other sports topics.
Back to football, and this is a moment for Jack because his team won 3-0. That's Chelsea at Huddersfield Town on Saturday. And Jack, it's a good response after the Shield defeat.
That was I was going to say that was the worst performance we've seen in a while, the Community Shield one. So it was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I was worried when I saw David Luiz in a 4-back in defence. That doesn't really spring confidence.
I feel like he's Ferrer. He's just going to be always on the bench, but just
he
for
worries.
this one game.
He worries me sometimes. But N'Golo Kante to be the first person to score in the Premier League this season for us is
I don't know.
It can't. Yeah, I mean that's the best thing that happens to you, surely, when N'Golo Kante scores for you. So and obviously Jorginho getting on the score sheet as well. And
I really like that penalty. It
was
made
a
the
great
keeper
penalty.
look like an absolute idiot. It made me look an idiot because I put Jorginho on my bench in fantasy football.
Not a
but
turd.
anyway.
Not a turd.
So I had Kante in my starting 11.
Oh, did you? Oh, good work. But Jack, it's good for the manager of course, Sarri. He had a bit of stress on the pitch as well. Sidelines. He had to chew the end of his cigarette throughout the match because he can't smoke on the sidelines. It's going to be a major problem for the season, isn't it?
whatever keeps you going.
That's basically like an alcoholic licking the rim of a whiskey bottle on the touchline.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't drink any, but I'm just gonna get slowly around it.
And then the moment it's final whistle, jug.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just get some patches and just line
I don't think it's that easy. I don't know. I'm as a non-smoker, but I believe it's not that easy. I don't know.
I'll say this now. Smoking is not a need; it's a want. So it's not exactly.
Don't do it, kids.
Yeah, don't do it, kids.
Dimmer smuggy.
Yeah, we've all been there. Of course, Sarri will be delighted with his new signing as well, getting that penalty, and Pedro as well. And you said to me from the summit he was playing really well. So he's clearly a breath of fresh air, this manager, getting these players back on form.
Yeah, it is good that obviously Pedro he signed a new contract as well. Obviously, because he's now 30-something, he only gets 1 year. Because that's classic.
Old,
that's classic Chelsea.
OAP.
You're old now. You're only getting a year.
OAP.
Yeah, they should have that really on their car sticker, shouldn't they?
Probably
as they drive
do.
it in. OAP incoming.
OAP
He's
coming
now a
through.
Chelsea pensioner.
He is. Yeah, that's it. That's how they get categorized. But yeah, good for him. He started the preseason well, and obviously getting a goal. Eden Hazard assisting him. He came off the bench. Obviously, there's still rumours around.
He could have been a Real Madrid player.
Well, there's still rumours around that Real Madrid are going to put in a massive offer because Chelsea are saying 200 million, just because we don't want to get rid of him. Real Madrid are eyeing it up.
200, then do you think Chelsea, from a Chelsea point of view, would you take 200 million if that landed on your desk?
I think they definitely would have if we still had the transfer window in the UK Open. But now it's like, even if it's 200 million, he is our best player. So losing him now, what are we going to do even until January? There's a
But then
a
on
few
the weekend
months.
though, you kind of proved that you were obviously you came on and had an influence, but you were doing all right without him. So if they're swinging 200 or say 250 million,
I'd take it. I would if it was
I
me.
don't know. It's a tricky one because like Jack says, there's no time to bring anybody in now because the transfer window closed.
It's not like Chelsea have always sold big players and then gone on with it again, though, haven't they?
Give Ruben
there's no
cheek
issue with that.
Yeah.
There's no issue with that, and I think next season, especially in the summer, I think he probably will go. But it depends if Chelsea can keep hold of him for this year.
And there's no Champions League either, so
No,
that's
I say,
another problem.
we've got the Europa League, so
Still going in January. Coutinho-esque.
yeah, but I don't think Chelsea.
I think Hazard's a bit more classier than Coutinho. Not even having to dig at the Copites, but just the fact that Hazard's been very respectful for the whole. Every time he gets
been
brought up in the
very
press
patient,
conference, his
actually.
dad was a bit of a tool because he came out and said like, "Yeah, we want him to go to Real Madrid." And it's like, and he's come out and publicly slammed his dad, saying, "Pipe it down."
Please don't let me get started on Thibaut Courtois.
Oh,
was
what
just
an
about to say,
embarrassment!
I know.
What an embarrassment!
I know.
Kissing the badge, kissing the Real Madrid badge. What an absolute disgrace!
Do you know what? It really annoyed Chelsea fans, but do you know what? It's annoyed more is Atletico Madrid fans.
Yeah,
because he was there for 3 seasons.
He's got a star, like their walk of fame they have on the way up to their new stadium.
And first day in, he's kissing the Real Madrid badge, and you just think, wow, I don't want to know what the atmosphere is going to be like when you go to Atletico Madrid in the season, because that'll just be horrendous. I mean, the way he said he was stressed because he didn't come into training. That's just stupid.
It annoys me. It annoys me.
And I understand. I wouldn't care if he came in on the Monday and said to the new manager, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Because then the manager doesn't want you. So he's like, okay, just sell you. But the fact that you didn't come in and then 2 days later you're in Madrid and you're kissing the badge, you've just... And he's like, I want people to remember the memories. It's like, you've just ruined that.
I mean, I love footballers. They're inspirational. But people like Courtois, when he wanted to leave a couple of years ago, I started to dislike him then because I just thought
that's all we had last
You're just
season.
another one of those, aren't you? You just want to be at the top, earn all that money. You don't care about who you play for. It's just where the opportunities are, and that's why I look at him. And when he, as you mentioned, the kiss in the badge thing, that
awful.
just cemented it for me. I wasn't. I
only
was
bit
glad to see him gone.
I would say it's modern football. It is what it is. No loyalty. There's literally on his
no
first
loyalty.
day of the job, and he's kissing the badge.
Then he had the swear word to say that he wants Eden Hazard to come with him.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you're really pushing it now.
Yeah,
If some Chelsea fans know your address in Madrid, be
Yeah.
worried because that's just like the last thing they want.
The only bit that was amusing about the whole thing was when Sky Sports had him in was it the Spa shop in Tenerife?
Yeah.
On the TV saying he wasn't in training, but he was in Spa. It was just like, okay, maybe he was just buying some groceries.
Yeah, you should have been up training though.
Sky Sports have spies everywhere. They're in the trees, they're in the cars, they're everywhere. They're even in the sewers.
Surely that's like good news for you as a Man United fan now, because you can kind of finally rest on that. Maybe Real Madrid aren't going to sign David De Gea every summer.
Oh yeah, I must admit.
Now
I'm
that's
quite
out the
glad,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
When they said 6-year deals, like yes, De Gea's staying.
Yeah, but then it didn't bother me because I knew we got that good keeper for 7 years.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't. I think that's happy because he looks like a good goalkeeper.
I
so-
compared.
World record
I mean,
thing.
I compared Courtois to Czech, and I think Czech was always a loyal Chelsea. That's where it all started for him, and he was happy to stay there.
Yeah.
But then he just couldn't get that first spot anymore.
I think that's what hurt
hurt
the most is that Chelsea give Courtois everything. They kick Czech out, for him, and he was just
won everything at Chelsea.
Yeah, he was just a disappointment from the beginning, really. So good luck to Real Madrid. I mean, every time he comes up against Messi, he struggles. So good luck to Real Madrid in the season.
Legs. He needs to wear that dress that I suggested.
And all the pictures that keep coming up. So yeah, good luck to Real Madrid for that. Yeah.
Oh dear, not good times at Real Madrid. Actually, we'll talk about Man United now because they beat Leicester City. Not the most convincing way, as always, but Joe's moved his mic away. I mean, I'm afraid for you, Joe, they did win United, whether you like it or not. Paul Pogba scoring within the first 3 or 4 minutes. I was outside the stadium, heard the crowd, I was like, oh, United have already scored. And then when they said to me it was Paul Pogba, I was like, yes. But then when they said it was a penalty, I was like, the penalties are it's just a kick at goal. You get it's the best opportunity.
Classic United
at the moment. And then Luke Shaw though getting a goal on his first ever senior goal. I thought he'd scored before, but
it was an assured finish.
No, that was a good one. That was okay. It was for sure a great goal. Well, it was okay. It was just a tapping really. But Jack, for Luke Shaw, he'll be.
I thought it was a bit more of a for Luke. For sure.
You know that that no noise is dead air on radio. We had that nearly.
Yeah, I think that was, yeah. Anyway, you're asking the questions, Jack.
Sorry.
Proceed, please.
I mean, anyone can answer it, really. I mean, he could have been a Liverpool player because he was from Southampton, but we stole him. But Jack, Luke Shaw, 3 years since his broken leg and he's had problems getting back on the pitch. For him, that must have been a great relief.
Yeah, I think he hasn't helped himself in his career, and I think he knows that, and obviously a lot of people have said Mourinho's been hard on him, but Mourinho does that. He's not really a
walkover.
Yeah, and he's not a manager that gives you too much. It's okay, don't worry. If he knows you're not working hard enough, he's going to tell you. So I think Luke Shaw has been trying to do better in this last 12 months, and that is a good relief for him. But obviously, he can't just go, okay, I'm here now. He needs to keep going because it's just like that. Ashley Young will be back in the team playing left back again. If Mourinho thinks that's the best way to do it. So
it's not a bad reserve, is it? Yeah, you got
but I mean for sure, he can't just say I'm here now. I'm playing in the.
He's got to turn up every week.
Yeah, obviously the goal helped, but he's obviously a left back, so he needs to make sure he's doing his job. I mean, I saw one bit where I don't know who was playing on the right hand side.
When Vardy, when he tried to cut back inside, like a drag back, and then he lost the ball and on his backside.
There's still bits that Luke Shaw obviously needs to improve on, and Mourinho will get him back in the training. But it's obviously good for him after the few years he's had.
Andrew, for Leicester though, they nearly got a draw out of it. Vardy scoring late on, but a lot of people would say Leicester deserved a draw from that match.
No, I don't know. I think it's probably a fair result. Looking back at the game throughout, you'd say Man United deserve to edge that. I'd say Leicester. I tend not to pull too much with this first round of games. I think, especially when you've got the World Cup in this case over the summer. So I don't tend to read too much into it. But I think Leicester, they didn't really seem quite at the races. It obviously didn't help giving away a penalty in the first 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
United weren't great either. They did enough. It was what it was at this point of the season. First game, players missing. You just think as long as you get 3 points on the board, it doesn't matter if you win 2-1 or 4-0.
Yeah, I think what's really annoyed me though about the weekend with Paul Pogba. Now, I have a lot of respect for him, but he came out in an interview saying that he can't describe his feelings about United at the moment because he would get fined for saying it. And that's basically saying he does love playing for the club, but he can't answer his love for it at the moment. Clearly problems there with him and Mourinho. And can I just say, get on with it. Can I just say, get on with it? Because the guy earns 200, 300, I don't know how much. He makes enough money. There's a lot of us that do jobs that do something for under 20 grand a year that we despise, and we work very hard to make ends meet. This is a guy who kicks a plastic ball around a pitch. And, you call that hard work. I'm sorry, that's not hard work. There's people who go to the army and go abroad and they don't know if they're going to come back because they work very hard. What I'm trying to say is that Paul Pogba is doing my head in because he thinks he's number one at Man United. He hasn't proved that to me. We can replace him tomorrow in my eyes because he hasn't done it. And we're seeing signs that this is why Fergie let him go in the first place. And I'm starting to think that maybe Mourinho would be better off without him. What do you think?
Well, I can't compete with that rant.
No.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously I'm not a United fan, so
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
so I'm not going to be saying how great Paul Pogba is, but he is a talent. We know he is, and you've seen a bit of it for Manchester United. Obviously, Juventus, that's where he sort of grew into this player, but. Yeah, it hasn't worked for him yet. Now it's his third season back at United, is it? So if it's going to happen, it needs to happen this season. It doesn't matter who's the manager. It doesn't matter who's in your team. You're the man. You have to deliver. So Pogba has to do that. No matter what. If Mourinho tells you to defend, you defend like there's nothing else on the line. You have to do your job that your manager asks you to do. So. I think he just needs to stop talking to the press and stop making stupid quips like I'm going to get fined if I say something. Just shut up and go back in the dressing room, really, isn't it? If you haven't got anything decent to say, don't say anything.
I think this is why I respect Paul Scholes and Roy Keane and all that a lot, Andrew, because they've always said on TV that they don't understand all this thing about players having social media. They spend more time on Instagram posting things than they do focusing on free kicks. That's just modern era football now, and this, for me, is another good example.
It is right. First, I was going to make a point then about Roy Keane. I think with Pogba, I'd say with Jack, as in, just don't say anything like that. Why are you saying those comments?
Well, you're going to benefit from it.
I think the way to deal with that situation is you just stay quiet, you don't say a word, or if you are going to say something, go all out and say what you think, like Roy Keane would have done, like Roy Keane did, and then he ended up leaving Old Trafford because of it. But I think it's either don't say anything or don't just tease what's underneath the surface. If you're going to go and say something's going to get you in trouble, just go all out and make you he's clearly in the mire as it is now with Jose for whatever he said, and that come off the back of a game where he's made captain. Jose praised him afterwards. He scored the opening goal. Granted, it was a penalty. So you're thinking he's had a good weekend, and then he goes and ruins it with that. Yeah, so if you're going to ruin it with that, then go out and just say what you want. But no, I agree. You hear about these players. It is literally it's all about it's the social media age. It's all about Twitter. It's all about Instagram. It's all about silly haircuts. I'm not saying the silly haircuts are new to football. They're not, but it's. You have to be able to do what some of them do in terms of the aura, the celebrity that surrounds them that they've created for themselves. They have to have done something to prove that first. You have to rather than just being all hype, you have to have the substance first. Then if you can do that while hyping yourself up, while bigging yourself up, while being all over social media, granted, fair enough, but you've got to back it up on the pitch. You've got to back it up in the way you approach games. That's the problem.
My favourite thing is when he first came back to United and he's like the announcement was I'm back, and he was like, but who are you?
Pog back, yeah.
What who cares? He hadn't done, even at Juventus, he made a bit of a name for himself, but he hadn't done enough to go, I'm the biggest player in the world, I'm joining United. Yeah, he came for a record fee at that time.
I think
but it's like, you haven't done enough for that. It's not like, Paul Scholes came back.
And he won the Premier League.
But we knew who he was. We knew it was Paul Scholes. But when Pogba comes back to United and he's like, I'm back. It's like, who cares? I know ultimately,
not a proven player.
This is a bit of a hot take, but he's a bit like Balotelli in one aspect. They've got the ability, but all he cares about is attitude, publicising himself. It's all social media. It's all haircuts. It's all my branding. And all that. Like, it's not what can I do on the pitch? He plays well for the French national team because he's got to. Otherwise, he won't get picked. But United, he knows he can walk in.
Yeah.
Not being funny, but he can walk into that team.
And something tells me Pogba's attitude might have changed a little bit since the World Cup, because he can say I'm a World Cup winner now. I'm not saying pay me more money, but it's like respect me.
Well, I'm sure you all saw there was that video that came out from before the World Cup final where he's got the French players around the table and he's rallying them all. It's all subtitled and he's just basically getting them to just showing proper leadership qualities, which you haven't really seen from him at Man United. So maybe you're thinking, well, if he's doing this for France, then he's clearly got it in him to do that, to take on that responsibility, to cut out all the word that I can say on the air, all the other stuff, and just focus on all the nonsense. Yeah, very good word, and just focus on the football. He can clearly do that. I know he's talked himself again, talking to the press about how it's different for France because he has a manager that believes in him, lets him play how he wants to play. But it's the team isn't there to be built around you necessarily. It's in rare occasions, that can happen. But a team like Manchester United, they're not really built around one player. Even Cristiano Ronaldo years ago, it wasn't built around Cristiano Ronaldo. It wasn't built around Eric Cantona or David Beckham or Roy Keane or Mark Hughes, even going back to the early 90s.
I think that's what made Fergie a good manager. He never let the players take over him. No matter who they were. He'd say,
David Beckham, Sam. Sam when he had a line, and if you crossed it, doesn't matter how important you were to that team. Ruud van Nistelrooy dropping in for the cup final for Louis Saha to say basically, sorry Ruud, I think Saha's a better fit for the team now. And this is Ruud van Nistelrooy who went to Real Madrid from there and banged in goals for fun for them and for I think it was Schalke then in Germany. So he's Fergie. It was no matter how good you are, if you did something that was out of line or you thought maybe your time was coming to an end, he would make that call. But the modern day footballer, especially someone like Paul Pogba, expects to be model called. They expect the arm around the shoulder all the time. They're always right. They're always in the right. It's they're not there to play for the club. The club are there to basically get the benefit of them playing for them. It's a weird world that we find football in these days.
And it's funny because the game when he scored 2 goals against Man City, that's when I felt that is the Pogba we've wanted. That's leading the team and to help them get back from getting themselves in a hole and getting themselves back out of it. And that was the only match I could say Pogba was.
That was the Roy Keane-esque performance. Not to hark on about Roy Keane,
and he looked like a leader when he scored. He kept telling the players, like, go back, you've got to score again.
There was no stupid dances. There was no arsing around. It was just a case of, right, let's do this, back to business, let's carry on.
Exactly, and we saw that with Rooney as well. He was like there was a leader at the club, and he was praised a lot for it. Speaking of Wayne Rooney, did anyone see his
brilliant
MLS performance last night?
I know
it's MLS, but
all I saw was that highlight clip in the 95th minute. Yeah.
What's it? Basically, if any of you listeners do not know what happened, yes, the diagonal ball. He ran back. This is when
off a corner. It was 2-2 in the 95th minute with 1 minute left of. It was 6 minutes of injury time. The keeper had gone up for DC.
I think he did. And there was nobody back.
No, their corner got cleared. So this guy had a clear run through on goal, got to the halfway line, and Rooney just comes from nowhere, tackles him, slide tackle in front of the bench, picks it up, and then just pings this 60-yard pass on some guy's head.
Amoroso?
It was his hat trick, I think.
It was his hat trick. Yeah, and they won 3-2.
Yeah.
And they had to be VAR. They've got VAR in MLS.
Oh, did they? Also, it was actual clip, right?
Yeah. So they had to check it, and then luckily Rooney was on the floor. And thank goodness! Like they might bring me back to the Premier League after that performance. But
it was only on the replay of it. And you're thinking, he's actually right. He's covered a lot of ground there, really, to make up the initial challenge. You think
it took me twice to it because I thought he scored a header at first because I thought, did he just score? No, he was actually.
It was him doing the donkey work.
It was great. Go on the MLS YouTube channel and find it there. It's absolutely fantastic to watch. We're going to have another music break. Then when we come back, I'm going to quickly mention the golf because Brooks Koepka has won another major in 2018. What a year that American is having. We'll be right back on the Let's Talk Sports Show on Calon 105 FM. And that was will.i.am with Bang Bang, and I didn't feel anything there. No bullets to the chest. So luckily it was just a song and nothing more. But anyway, we're back on the Let's Talk Sports Show. I don't know what things I come out with. I've realised I come out with a load of rubbish. So I do apologise to you listeners, to any of you loyal listeners that have listened to this show for the last 5 years. We don't know. Not after today. Our puns, well, at least Jack and Andrews were okay, but me and Joe's have been pretty dreadful. We have been the Derby County of the Premier League where we just can't score.
I was going to put you down as the Carrius and the Mignolet. It's like a nice little duo. Yeah, it's okay.
Don't compare me to a Liverpool keeper.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Anyway,
league rant for Jamie.
I'll take that. Decent keeper. He did all right for Stoke. He stopped Chelsea in his tracks at times as well in the League Cup.
Massimo
Taibbi. Just for that.
Is his name Taibbi, the one that was understudy in the 90s?
Taibbi we're going back to. Have you gone back though? You had David James, Calamity James. You had Bruce Grabbelar when he was throwing games and taking bets.
That's where they live. They live in the 90s, don't they?
Yeah.
80s actually. But
Fabian Barthez, there's another one.
Get your stereotype right.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll just quickly mention the US PGA. That was on last night. And Tiger Woods did not win. He came runner-up at the end. This is a golfer that had not been on the scene for the last 12 months. 12 months ago. He turned up at the Open Championship. He finished joint second. He finished second at the US PGA last night. And he's just missing out on those majors. But who'd have thought, Joe, you watch a bit of golf now and again, who'd have thought Tiger Woods would have actually come back so quickly after being away for at least 2 years, and now is getting at least runners-up at major championships?
I thought we'd never see Tiger back to competing again. I was going to say the old Tiger. He's not quite there yet. So it's good to see him back because obviously golf needs a good... So I was trying not to laugh
He's
at
in
them.
here.
I was trying not to laugh at these two doing tiger impressions. Try not to laugh at Andy and Jack doing tiger impressions today. Yeah, but golf needs a good tiger.
Don't throw us under the bus. Yeah. I had some Frosties today for the first time in about 15 years. No word of a lie.
I'm surprised Tiger Woods actually did do a Frosties advert and eat it and then go, there, great. No,
With a
I'm the
Scandinavian
tiger.
model in the background or something.
Yeah, of course, yeah. That's just basic.
It's in the
Standard.
contract.
Yeah. But Joe, as you say, you didn't expect him to come back, but surely he'll look at this year of major golf and think he can certainly compete next year, come the Augusta in April.
Obviously, yeah, he needs to get more practice under his belt, more tournaments, and obviously the more he plays, the better hopefully he'll get. Because obviously golf needs a strong tiger. It needs that competition to compete with. What?
Poor Andrew's giggling.
Rory McIlroy and Spieth, etc. So we need Tiger back.
But Rory McIlroy, though, it's been 4 years since he won a major. He was nowhere near the top this week around. It's not happening for him at the moment, is it?
Now I don't know what seems to be off with Rory. A couple of years ago, he blamed his.
He is Tiger-esque, I guess.
He blamed his fractious relationship with Caroline Wozniacki. Well, you can't be doing that.
He can't do that. He won 2 majors after he split up with Wozniacki. I thought that was the evolution.
No, that's what I'm saying. He blamed his fractious relationship with her at the time on that, but he can't be blaming that now. So I don't know. He needs to sort out his mental side, and I think the rest will follow with Rory.
And Brooks Koepka, of course, I'm doing what any typical journalist does if you're from BBC or ITV or whatever, by headlining Woods when it was actually Brooks Koepka who won the US PGA yesterday. He's actually the first player since Tiger Woods in 2000, Joe, to win the US PGA and the US Open in the same season. So Koepka coming to the Ryder Cup, he's going to be the vital man for the USA team.
Well, I wasn't aware of that stat, so that's an interesting one. It looks like he's going to be, obviously, like you said, a vital player for the USA. It's going to be an interesting tournament because Europe want their trophy back.
Yeah, and funny enough, USA and Europe has not worked out in... I think the last time they won in Europe was in 2006, so we don't want that to happen again.
No, obviously want to keep the trophy on European soil and keep that record going for the USA, the unfortunate record for them. Obviously, Europe didn't turn up last time, did they, at the Ryder Cup? So we need to put out a
we
performance.
got absolutely battered.
We need to put out a performance this time and right those wrongs, to be honest. And if
quickly,
we do win, no eating the cereal out of the trophy.
Out the trophy, I don't think you can
Frosties?
with it, right?
That was Westwood, I think it was, that did that. Or, no, Poltz.
Was it Poulter?
Poltz.
Oh, good old Ian Poulter.
Poulter.
Proper team player.
Eating his Cheerios with his lad out the Ryder
Poltz.
Cup, and 5 minutes
I was
later
thinking
after
that,
he
like
posted the
he's in
video on
his,
his social media,
he's been
he got in
texting
trouble.
him. Me and Paul.
What was it you were saying, Joe?
He was eating his Cheerios with his lad out of the trophy when they won it. Can't remember which year it was, a few years back.
Yeah.
In Europe, eating the Cheerios, and 5 minutes later, after posting the video on social media, he got a massive telling off from the PGA and stuff, and telling him, you can't do that.
Oh dear.
well.
Well,
Massive.
that's a real problem there.
Big get to play.
Quickly mention as well that Adam Scott, the 2013 Masters winner, he finished third at the end. He was in contention to win the US PGA. He was on the same round and same position with Koepka until the last couple of holes where it just didn't go for him at all. And Adam Scott was known from the 2012 Open for getting 4 birdies in a row in the last 4 holes and lost the major championship to Ernie Els. So Adam Scott finishes third at the end. The rankings will not help him whatsoever, especially in the FedEx Cup. And funny enough, I met Adam Scott at the Open, and I thought meeting him would get him that first major win in 5 years, but apparently I'm a bad luck charm now. I thought he was going to win it yesterday, but oh well. So anyway, of course, that's it for golf until the end of September when the Ryder Cup goes to the Golf National in France. That'll be, of course, between Europe and America. Can USA finally get that win in Europe, or Europe going to get it back after winning it in Glen Eagles in 2014. We've got a few minutes left on the show. There's been plenty of other sport going on this weekend. Quickly mention as well that England beat India in the Test cricket again. They beat the number 1 team again in Test cricket. They won by an innings at the end. That's how well England played. It just shows that win in the first Test was so vital when it was that day on Saturday last week in Edgbaston. No one thought England were going to win that, and India with Virat Kohli are having problems at the moment, and maybe they need to rethink for their squad for the remainder of the series over the next few weeks. And quickly mention as well that the European Athletics and the European Championships as a whole has just come to a close. Dina Asher Smith getting 3 golds in the sprint for Team GB, which is an absolute fantastic achievement. And with the Olympics happening in about 2 years' time in Tokyo, a lot of people reckon she could be the one to watch for our great British team. But let's not forget as well, the World Championships take place in Doha next year in Qatar. So that'll be interesting. Hopefully she could do it there as well by claiming the triple gold in the World Championships. We'll find out in 12 months' time, though, when that takes place. Lads, just thought I'd make sure I'd include all those sports there. So sorry for
Good work.
leaving you. Thank you. Luckily, Joe was there for the golf. You two, any of you two watch the European Championships over the week in Glasgow? Or?
Not a sausage.
Not a
sniff.
sausage.
Nope.
I don't think the Scots are known for their sausages.
They have
but,
square ones.
You could have said not a whiskey, even though you love your whiskey.
Not a haggis. Yeah.
You can follow Andrew.
Not an iron brew. Oh yeah.
You can follow Andrew. You can follow Andrew Pollard on Instagram for all the great risky photos that you take.
Risky whiskey. Yeah. at cultured left peg. Yeah. Hunt that down. Yeah. I didn't realize we were plugging Instagram handles.
Yeah. Why not? You know, keep an eye on what we're all up to.
To be fair, Joe's plugged his cards.
Yeah. Very good point.
And I mean, you plugged them for me.
You paid me. So
yeah.
Where do I get my share?
Checks are in the post.
ask him.
Checks are in the post. Oh,
If they
I've
don't
heard
get
that
delivered-
every week.
If you don't
Just
get
like them
delivered,
cards
blame
when we did
my
them
mail.
quizzes.
Yeah.
They're still lost.
But in other news, I got F1 2018. Yeah. F1's nearly upon us this season again. We can talk about that again soon.
I thought it only just finished like a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
No,
It has.
summer break.
Of 3 weeks.
Yeah. It doesn't finish till November. Andrew, calm down. Calm down. I know you love it.
I do.
Still loads more videos to do.
Still loads more.
Yeah.
Still loads more videos to do.
What joy.
But anyway, we must come to an end here. Anyway, I'd like to thank Jack Price, Joe Stanley, and Andrew Pollard for their contribution this week. Hopefully, Connor Porter and Adam Davis might be about next week. There's a reason why Adam Davis isn't here.
Clearly.
Because of the Chester result, probably. I have a feeling it's that. He messaged me after the game and said he wasn't going to make it.
We all love you, Adam.
We love you, Adam. We do.
We miss you.
We'll, rest in peace to Chester City. Sorry, no, they are gone. Chester FC, I mean. But rip for that. But we'll be back next week. Same time, same place on Calon 105 FM. And between now and next week's show, we will be bringing you build up to the Premier League games for this weekend. Me and Jack have got an F1 video to do. So we are doing something F1 related for the next week for you motorheads to look forward to. But for now, it's my thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of your week. Goodbye, and this was Let's Talk Sport on Calon 105 FM.
Calon FM on 105 FM.